Hey guys, how are y'all doing? Hope you're having a good day. Shelby here again. I realized that the last video that I posted, I used some terminology that a lot of people might not know. We've kind of entered into like a whole new dictionary of words to describe what is happening, the new earth, this ascension process, astral body, 3D, 4D, 5D. And some people might be going, what the hell is she talking about? And I was kind of like, what the hell am I needed to learn a whole new set of words to literally describe what I was feeling, what I was seeing, what was happening. So I've done a lot of research over the last few months, been getting a ton of downloads and then having to go to different sites and books to search out and seek out how to even verbalize this, how to even explain this to other people. So I thought I would just give this little video on basically some verbiage for the new Earth verbiage, okay, so that you can go out there and use all these terms, or if you hear them, you know, oh, I know what they're talking about. So the first one that I wanted to talk about basically was, and I have some notes up here that I'm looking at, was what the hell is this ascension process? So what is ascension? So what it's not is that we're not all going to be levitating and ascending to some other planet or some other place. When they talk about ascension, it's basically like consciousness. So collectively, our consciousness on the planet as beings is being raised in vibration. So it's a vibrational frequency through time and space. Okay, so it's not like we're physically going anywhere. Our consciousness is being raised on a collective level. And when the energy shifts on the planet, so does our consciousness. So the energy is shifting, our consciousness is shifting, and basically we're kind of moving into a higher frequency. Okay, so when we talk about, oh, people are becoming more sensitive or more intuitive, or their psych abilities are getting heightened, that's this ascension process. Have you heard some people on YouTube talk about ascension symptoms? It's like our dense 3D physical bodies are trying to match the vibrational frequency that our planet and our consciousness is rising to. Okay, so it's kind of like the 3D physical bodies got a little bit of a lag time to raise up to these lighter, higher frequencies, because 3D is very dense for us. So that's what the ascension symptoms are when they talk about those. Basically, our whole planet is being transformed into a higher dimension, okay? And that's talking about frequencies. Okay, the next one I want to talk about is 3D, 4D, and 5D, okay? So we are living in a three-dimensional universe right now. We have three-dimensional bodies. We experience three-dimensional experiences. So 3D Earth is kind of we are all dealing with it right now. It's the duality. It's, you know, we have to, what we see is what we get. Everything is very solid. It's heavy. It's matter. This is black. This is white. There's a lot of control. There's a lot of me, mine, I'm doing this for me kind of mentality. So 3D is not going away. It's going to be here. But what's happening is that our consciousness is shifting higher. Okay, so our consciousness is shifting into 4D, and fourth dimensional consciousness is like we understand that there's maybe more to this existence than what we can see in our human light spectrum, because our human light spectrum is very limited compared to what we could be seeing if we had our full light spectrum. We'd be able to see elementals and spirits and entities and things, and like, thank God that we don't see all those all the time, because we'd go berserk. So it's actually a gift. So when you're into 40, you realize that, yeah, there are some other energies out there. Maybe you work with them. I, as an energy healer, work in 40 all the time. I'll go into this, but astral traveling, if you've ever heard of astral projection, meditation, kind of that unity consciousness, just that there's more to this planet than just 3D experiences. That's going into 40. Okay, 50, so fifth dimension is a little bit more out there. That's like hanging out in the higher realms consciously. You can go into that when you're in deep meditation, when you're in a theta brainwave state. It's very unity consciousness. The sages and the ascended masters kind of live in that state all the time. And so as humans, we actually can go from the 3D and 4D and 50 dimensions. We can kind of like live in those simultaneously. So when we talk about the ascension process, we talk about that we're going from this very solid, linear, three-dimensional reality to 4 and 5. So you can see how it can really open up our existence and our world. Okay, so next one I'm going to talk about let's talk about higher self. So you heard somebody say, oh, I'm connecting with my higher self. So higher self is a term that can be used, God self, my higher voice, whatever it is. There's tons of different words for it, but I'll use the word higher self today. And the higher self is basically, it's your whole spiritual body. It's your forgotten selves. It's an energetic body that holds our consciousness and intelligence, that make up our spiritual identity. So before we kind of incarnated into these human bodies, we were these blissful, basically conscious beings that didn't have any duality, that didn't have any of our insecurities, that didn't have any fear or doubt or worry. We were these blissful, unified, loving, unconditionally loving, compassionate beings, that literally did not even have the capacity to know what duality and fear and jealousy and all those lower vibrational energies were. So when you hear somebody say, I'm connecting with my higher self, you're connecting with that part of you that basically was that unity consciousness, was that wholeness before you embodied into this physical form, into this really dense earth, and had to kind of like go through all of these experiences basically to learn what we already knew in the beginning. Okay, so let's just shortcut it all and be like, okay, everybody, just like unity consciousness, unconditional love, empathy and compassion, and we don't have to go through any of this shit anymore. Let's just go right there, right? No, it doesn't work that way, because we forget. We get like memory swiped once we come down here, and then we're like, oh, I'm scared, and oh, I'm jealous of that person, and oh, I'm not good enough. And we kind of have to go through all of those to get to that place again, if we ever do. So that's what it means with higher self. The next one I want to talk about is timelines. So timelines, this is another one that's kind of a little bit out there, but I'll tell you what, my experience of some of these things that I'm talking about with clients, I don't believe anything until I actually experience it. And I've not only experienced it myself, but I've experienced it through the many, many clients that I see on a weekly basis. So timelines, basically our souls have lived lots of different lives. Okay, I don't know any souls that are here that have only lived this life. Okay, if you know of one or you are one, send me a message, because I want to talk to you. But most of us have lived thousands upon thousands of lifetimes. Our souls have. So our DNA actually carries not only like generations, but it carries lifetimes with us, which kind of doesn't seem very fair if you've got a lot of negative lifetimes, but it's just the way it is. So when we talk about timelines, if you can think of it as, I heard this analogy once, let's say that you are watching a movie, okay? And you put the movie on pause and you walk away from the movie. And that movie is still kind of, the energy of that movie is still like waiting, like holding there for you to come back and finish watching it, okay? Let's say you never come back and finish watching it, okay? The movie's just there, it's on pause, okay? So those are kind of talked about as like these different lifetimes or these timelines. So if you've got a timeline that has some unfinished business in it, it's just sitting there on pause, and it's carrying that energy over DNA in your DNA to your current lifetime, you could have some real issues, right? So let's say that you robbed a store, robbed a bank in a past life, right? And you never resolved it, you held guilt from it, and here we are, fast forward, let's say like 17 lifetimes, and you're in this body now, and you're carrying a lot of guilt. And all of a sudden that guilt creates experiences in your life where that guilt is affirmed. So you have all these things that make you feel guilty. So if we can go back to that timeline and we can turn off that movie, then that guilt can be cleared for this time going forward, okay? And we can also do that for ancestral stuff too. Does that make sense? So timelines. And then getting really out there, we actually can be living these timelines simultaneously. So if you ever thought like, oh man, I feel like I'm like living this, I should be living this other life, or I feel like I'm living like multiple lives. You probably are. You probably are living multiple lives, okay? I'll go into that a little bit further, and if you have questions about that, you can message me, we can talk about it. So the next one I want to talk about is downloads. The hell is a download? And I think that's so funny too, because I remember, I don't know what little video I watched where they were spoofing on like new age hipster verbiage, and it was like, oh my god, stop it, I'm getting a download, right? Like I never thought I'd be that person, and I'm totally that person now. So what a download actually is, and I really experienced a download, and they were not that fun. I spent the last probably month and a half this year, and then there was all of last year, having these experiences. I had a head injury, and I would literally have to go in my room and lie down. I would be so exhausted, and I would lie down, and I wouldn't sleep, but I would be getting information, and I don't even know what that means. I just knew I was getting information, and I would kind of go into this sort of trance-like state, and I knew that I was getting information. I was getting downloads. I was getting codes, and then I would wake up from that, and I would remember some of it, and then I'd kind of go research what that meant, which is kind of why I'm here today talking to you guys, is because of all of these downloads that I've gotten. So if there's anybody out there who's experienced this just like exhaustion, and then you go lie down and you feel like something's happening to you, you don't quite know what it is, or you're just like getting these bits of information or guidance, this is what is called a download. And a download is that you're getting direct connection from your guides, from source energy, from your higher self. If you are, some of us have some, alien ancestors. You could be getting information from different planets. Sounds totally crazy, I know. Also have seen it happen and have felt it happen. So if you got more questions on that, we can talk about these different, you could have ancestors from different planets, Pleiadians, Arcturians, all that stuff, Syrians. So that is a download. Okay, so let's talk about the astral body. The astral body. So we have our physical body, okay? Physical body, we know what that is. We also have, different bodies. In Kundalini Yoga, they talk about that there's like 7 different bodies. Just for time purposes today and trying to keep it simple, the astral body is basically where all of our emotions are held. Our energy, our aura is held in the astral body. when you leave your body, okay, your astral body looks very much like your physical body, except for it's less dense, okay? So if you've ever had an experience of astral travel or leaving your body, or have you ever had an experience where you kind of like feel like you're falling asleep and you kind of like jolt, okay, that's an experience of your astral body leaving the body. We get scared, we get freaked out, we don't know what it is, and we bring it back. Okay, so when your astral body is holding your emotions, it's holding your memories. When we do energy work, we work in the astral body, because if we can clear it in the astral body, then it won't get into the physical body. Okay, does that make sense? And the astral body is a different vibration. It vibrates at a different frequency. It's where the chakras are as well. Okay. Okay, lastly, I just wanted to mention this really quick. I'm going 15 minutes over. The event. I don't know if you've heard about this. If you haven't, don't worry about it. But a lot of people on YouTube are talking about this event. And the event, I don't know what it is. It could be power outages. It could be nothing. It could be more earthquakes, tidal waves, things like that. All I'm asking you is that if you hear anything about the event, to please not go into fear about it. Okay, if you're feeling really strongly guided to like get some water and put it in your basement because you might need it, then great. But I just would just trust that you're going to be exactly where you need to be if this event happens. They're saying that it's going to happen in October, and there's like maybe another one coming in November. A lot of these readers pick up psychically on stuff, but it also can be projections too. So just don't go into fear about it. Just be cautious and stay in your heart. And if you feel like you need to prepare, then prepare. But I don't get that there's going to be anything catastrophic. So that was your little new Earth verbiage guide, so that you guys can understand and maybe talk about some of these things that you're experiencing and feeling. Love you guys. We'll talk to you soon.